This right here still gives me chills to this day. Damn, what a trip Jackson has had the last few years. Making 3 back-to-back-to-back blockbusters, cashing in millions of dollars, taking home 3 Academy Awards, making himself a household name, and putting New Zealand on the map for movies, which all feels like happened overnight. You know, he's probably going to play it safe. Maybe just take or remake one of the most beloved monster movies of all time. Jackson made New Line Cinema over $1 billion from the 3 Lord of the Rings films, so he was pretty much able to do whatever he wanted, and he picked the universally beloved King Kong. We all know the story. A film crew and a group of sailors head to Skull Island, where our main female lead is taken by Kong, and it's up to the group to go save her, and maybe capture a 20-foot ape along the way. I'm gonna have all spoilers for this movie, so if you haven't seen it yet, what are you doing? I've spoiled a bunch of the other movies. This is like the first time I'm actually saying I'm gonna spoil a movie, so like, go watch it and then come back, okay? I'll be here, waiting. Jackson went all out when it came to remaking the original film, pretty much doubling the length time. He introduced a lot more characters, which some are amazing, and some, well, regardless of what people say about there being too many characters and pointless subplots, I understand what Jackson was trying to do. He was giving the crew a sense of belonging there instead of just being a throwaway deaths throughout the film. Okay, so they were still used as throwaway deaths, but some weren't, and left little sad Andrew there, sad, alone. I wasn't alone, but you know what I mean. Staying on top of the characters, I loved the main cast for the most part. Naomi Watts, Jack Black, Thomas Kretschmann, Kyle Chandler, they're all great. One actor that I didn't really care for was Adrian Brody. I thought he was pretty much sleeping through his performance. I don't know if that's just him as an actor, but I do love him in the Grand Budapest Hotel.
And he probably fucks them too.
I go to bed with all my friends.
I could watch that all day. You know, in fact, let's put that on a loop real quick. Jack Black dialed back the comedy he's known for to give a great performance. While he still has his funny moments, he gives us a finer performance of his career. Naomi Watts seems to be having a lot of fun with this movie, but she has a huge challenge since her co-star is a gigantic computer-generated ape. She gets to do a lot of great stuff in this film, with this being one of my favorite scenes. She also does a lot of screaming, but it's justified and it's not annoying. Unlike this shit. I told you she'd come back, and there is still like over 2 minutes of footage that I could use. But let's talk about the real star here, King Kong, aka the myth, the legend, Andy Serkis!
Andy, how old are you today?
21.
That's gorilla years. Right?
Times like this, you really do wonder what you're doing with your life.
That's right, your boy Gollum is back, but he's not just playing King Kong. He's playing a hard-to-understand chef called Lumpy. Like I said in the Lord of the Rings review, Andy deserves an Oscar. The emotion he is able to pull off and how he gives Kong a sense of realism is one of the best acting skills I've ever seen. I mean, look at this. Or how about this scene? Tremendous acting by Serkis. Clocking in at just a little over 3 hours, or almost 3.5 hours if you watch the extended version, always better. This movie takes you on a wild ride through New York to Skull Island and back to New York, People might complain that the first act is long. I mean, our characters don't land on Skull Island until almost 50 minutes into the film, yet that is what Jackson is doing with this movie. He was making an epic movie just like previous films that Hollywood used to make. Movies like The Ten Commandments is over 4 hours long. Ben-Hur is 3.5 hours long. Spartacus is just shy a little over 3 hours, and same with Cleopatra. You get the point. Hollywood doesn't make movies like this anymore. It's very rare nowadays to get these random, and when I mean random, I mean not connected to a universe like superheroes, but you get these random films that are really long. Jackson is giving love to the old way that classic Hollywood used to make movies. Also, the musical score is beautiful and intimidating. Kong's theme is so powerful and catchy, which is perfect whenever he enters a scene. Skull Island is a character itself. The wall and natives are terrifying. Within a first few minutes of entering the island, the natives kill a few of the crew members right away. I don't think anyone saw that coming, and I praise Jackson for throwing that surprise at us. The jungle is dense with creepy bugs and frickin' dinosaurs. Now I'll be a little honest. The CGI holds up for the most part, but the dinosaurs are a little noticeable. Kong still looks incredible though, and it makes so much sense on why Circus would later star as Caesar in the Planet of the Apes reboot trilogy. Could you imagine a scene with Kong and Caesar together? That'd be pretty bananas. If there was anybody who remembers seeing this movie in theaters like me, was this not the coolest shot ever? This is one of the coolest things 10-year-old Andrew had ever seen. I love how some scenes have epic music playing and out of nowhere the score gets cut off and all we hear are the noises happening in the scene, so we are focused on what is happening or leading up to something big. New York is breathtaking in this film. What Jackson and his team did to bring the streets of the city back to life is incredible. Also, you can't forget about the climactic scene in the Empire State Building. That looks amazing. Seeing the sunrise over the city, this movie is truly a work of art and shouldn't be pushed to the side just as another remake. And for the people who want to compare this to Skull Island, really? These are two completely different movies. One of them is a entertaining monster film, while the other is a love letter to the original 1933 film. If you're familiar with the story, you know that Kong dies at the end and it really hits you in the feels. When he's looking at Anne for one last time before he gets shot in the back, you can see the suffering in his eyes, which again is done beautifully by Circus. Kong dies, and then Jack Black says the famous phrase,
"What does it matter? Airplanes got him."
It wasn't the airplanes. It was beauty killed the beast.
and then the movie ends. I love these movies where the enemies are actually the ones that we should be rooting for. I was rooting for Kong the entire time, even though I knew what was going to happen. It's truly remarkable what Jackson and Circus were able to pull off here. What could have been a cheap remake of a beloved classic ended up being completely new and unique, yet keeping the spirit of the original alive and well. I think that's all I gotta say about this movie. If you haven't seen it, well, I just spoiled the entire thing for you, and if you haven't watched it in a long time, I highly recommend doing so. As of this review, it's on Hulu, so go check it out, or if you own it, there you go, a good excuse to watch the movie. Like always, guys, if you want to smack that like button, helps us out a lot, and if you haven't yet joined the evolution, I'll see you next time.